Stand by for your last Aviation Link, and we're going to hear about the U-2 aircraft. So we're going to do something a little special this week. We're going to talk to Dave Bateman here at an Experimental Aircraft Association Chapter 42 meeting, who's going to tell us all about his flights and the special reconnaissance aircraft called the U-2.
I was privileged to have flown the U-2 in 1976, 77, 78. We don't call them pilots, because the U-2 was a utility airplane, and to hide that they had pilots, they called them drivers. So I'm driver number 341, and right now there's a little over 1,000 people who have flown it, only about 900 or so operationally. And then I'm retired Air Force Colonel, 06, but the U-2 was sort of a highlight from the standpoint it's so different to fly. It's a big glider, but with a huge engine on it. The U-2 that hangs in the Smithsonian, I have actually flown that airplane. And that was the very first airplane that flew over Russia back in the late 1950s. And the airplane itself, in the air, it flies like a big airplane, but close to the ground, it's totally different. As somebody said, it's like trying to land a skateboard on ice. It can get you in a lot of trouble, is that you have to have your airspeed within 1 knot, and you have to have your threshold crossing height within 1 foot to get it on the ground to exactly where you want it. So I felt very privileged to have been able to fly it, and it's a wonderful group of people. They're doing a wonderful job right now protecting the nation, and I'll always be proud of that.
I was actually the first person to solo the U-2 out of Beale Air Force Base in September 10th of 1976. At that time, Beale Air Force Base, which is 45 miles north of Sacramento, that was the SR-71 base.
Well, it normally flew at about Mach 0.72. That's not classified. It will fly above 70,000 feet. It can actually fly higher than that. It's got a great big yoke. Everyone thinks it has a stick. No, it's got a great big old yoke. And you need to have that because it has cables that control the controls. When we breathe here on the ground, you have to kind of make an effort to inhale, but it goes out by itself. When you're breathing 100% oxygen under pressure, it's just the other way around. It goes in easy, and you have to, it's not a real big exertion, but you have to do it just the opposite to kind of exhale itself. Every time you fly the airplane, you have to pre-breathe 100% oxygen, at least we did for an hour prior to going out to the airplane, to get all of the nitrogen out of your body, because you can get the bends if you don't. The thing is, when you're flying these missions over 9 hours, and you come down and land, is the oxygen has actually gotten behind your ears, and you have to valve, you know, where you hold your nose and you breathe to pop your ears, because you're doing that for hours afterwards. And of course, 100% oxygen under pressure will dry you out, and you have to drink on the airplane. Oh my gosh, I went through a pint or a quart of Gatorade an hour, because you have to, because if not, you'll get dehydrated. The main concern is, when I sat there, was something that we didn't even know about called deep vein thrombosis that people get on airliners now, where you can get clots. Well, think about it. Sit in a chair for 9 hours plus and don't move, and breathing 100% oxygen.
So Dave gave us a really good talk here at the EAA Chapter 42 meeting, telling us all about the specifications and some very interesting details about the U-2 and some of the different models. I'm Rob Stapleton for your Last Aviation Link.